I'm always sad when Halloween's over. It really is my favorite time of year. It's like such a letdown afterwards. I mean, we had a great one this year, but it's like I don't want it to stop.
I don't think it's a letdown. It's just you can't wait till next year.
Yeah, see, I like Halloween, but I hate Halloween at the same time because I never know what I want to be until the day before Halloween, and there's no fucking time to do it. And then the day after Halloween, I'm like, that's what I'm doing next year.
And then you forget.
And then I forget. And then the day before Halloween, I'm like, fuck, I would be Tenzin. And Steve's like, you don't have time to make that outfit. If you had told me 2 weeks ago, we could have done this. I decided 10 minutes ago. What did you want to be last year? I don't know. He's like, I think you wanted to be the Riddler. Oh, yeah, I wanted to be hipster Riddler. You could have done that. He's like, all right, next year, or this year, we're going to build up what you might want to be. I'll make you a Tenzin outfit, get the stuff for hipster Riddler. I was cool. He's like, you can have your pick of the litter next year. It's awesome.
There you go.
But
hipster. I just want to think about this hipster Riddler. So you were asking people questions before questions existed.
I was asking riddles before they were cool.
You were giving them the answers.
Yeah.
And they had to guess
it was like Jeopardy.
Gotcha. That is pretty good.
It could have been really good.
No, remember that.
Remember that for next year.
I won't.
So
What
do
I
we have
do
to remind you
remember-
next year?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
3 months before.
Yeah.
What I do remember is that I really want to be Sherlock Holmes and what, son? Because I think that that's really fucking funny. And Steve's like, no. And I'm like, why won't you be what, son? And he's like, what does that even entail? You get to be like a Watson pimp.
Oh my goodness.
You know what? If Steve doesn't want to do that, I'll do that with
You'll
you.
do that with me?
That's
All
fucking.
right,
That's a
high five.
great idea.
Yes. I
that
just
was
gotta.
the lamest high five.
It was.
It was.
By the way.
So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Threading and Dreading. As you've heard, yes, it's just after Halloween, but we're still milking our Halloween cookies and snacks and goodies and water.
Mike's cousin and her hot husband made cookies or brought
Yes.
cookies. I don't think they made them.
Quick
These
little
look
shout out
store-bought.
to my cousin Jen and her husband Ryan. You guys made fantastic cookies for our Halloween party, so thank
Well,
you so much. Well, for their party, really, but they were leftovers, but
They
they
were
brought
nice enough
all
to
their
bring it
leftovers
here.
over, so
Yeah, they were super cool.
yeah, they're cool. So yeah, thank you guys for all the food.
Thank you.
Yep. So we're gonna go around the room and introduce everybody. To my right, we have.
Superhuman aficionado Paul.
Well, how
What's
you
up?
doing, sir?
I'm
Been
all
a
right.
while.
Yeah, I know. Life has been crazy. Honest to God, last time I drove past your house. Like, I realized as I was about to pull up that I had to do something with Steve. And I was like, okay, sorry, but I can't do this tonight. I'm really sorry. As I'm driving past your house. And I was like, I feel like such a douchebag. I hope nobody looked out the window.
Because I've gotten some comments recently, where's Allison and Paul? Now they know where you've been. But to answer the other question,
Allison's
She's been out
snake charming.
Yeah.
And slower, lower.
I like how you guys gave the exact same response. Snake charming. No, yeah, she moved to what we call slower lower, so she's having some trouble getting up here on a routine basis, and she was actually supposed to be here tonight, but something came up, so sorry, guys.
Just not her.
Yeah.
Bum.
So she'll be back eventually, guys. Don't worry. But welcome back, Paul. Good to see you.
Yeah, and honest to God. So I told you guys that I got my weeks mixed up with the Halloween party.
Yeah.
So we got invited to this thing in New Jersey, one of those like haunted house situations, like Frightland or whatever,
Yeah.
where people jump out at you. And I don't like that shit, but Steve does.
Kim and I love 'em.
I went,
I love
and and
Do you remember the name of it?
It was Fright Night at Mullica Hill, I think. Something in Mullica Hill.
It's the one where like the farm name is called Creamy Acres.
I fucking know.
Well, it is.
Okay,
I've
cool.
been there.
Creamy Acres.
I didn't cream on their acres.
Good.
There were a couple guys though that like one guy came up and like smelled me and he's like, "You smell good," and I was like, "You don't." And then somebody at one point, like there was some like really hillbilly guy and he said something and
You
I
got
was
a
like,
pretty mouth.
something like that, and I was like, "You're way too hot for me to be scared of you," and he's like, "What?" I was like, "Steve, how am I supposed to be scared of rednecks? Don't they know I like blue collar boys?"
Oh God.
But so as we're walking out of the house, it's like, "Oh, Mike's Halloween party in 1 hour." So I get back and I've got a text from you. I've got a text from Steve Cohn and you, I think.
Yeah, like I sent you like a 2 or 3 texts.
Oh,
I think.
that would be why my phone thought it was having a seizure. So when we got back,
Phone's
we
like,
headed
pick
out.
up, damn it!
Right. Siri's like, yo, bitch.
I'm glad you can make it.
Yeah, it was a good time.
And across from the Superhuman Aficionado, we have...
The fangirl extraordinaire.
And how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. Considering that tomorrow is kind of a special day for you.
Maybe.
Tomorrow is the fangirl's birthday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Should we spank you tonight?
Wow.
What's up, girl? How you doing?
Right.
Hold up, Mike. Go get me a belt.
Wow. Talking about, I got a riding
that
crop
note.
back there. What the fuck you talking about? I'm
Yeah,
joking.
ready. Yo, Kim, run next door. Get me one of your switches.
Oh, wow.
I know Mike likes it rough.
But I did want to bring that up because Kim and I did get you a little something.
Aw.
And I didn't have time to wrap it because it's been
you
chaotic.
already got me something.
What? I did?
Yeah.
What? Did I?
Yeah, the Superman T-shirt.
Oh, that
Awful.
wasn't a gift. That was just for Halloween.
No, but you said.
No,
That was
whatever.
a joke.
So, yeah, I didn't have time to wrap
You
this,
gotta
but
close your eyes.
close your eyes.
Oh, no, I'm
So
so scared.
hand this to
Don't
her.
be scared. Hold out your hand.
Okay, and open it.
Oh my god!
So did you already take a picture of that so that you can put it on the podcast?
Yeah. So for you guys are wondering about, we got her the omnibus for the Buffy the Vampire Slayer comic series. So that's the first volume. I think there's 4 total volumes, and that's volume 1. So hopefully.
Yeah, do you want me to hold your mic?
Oh, okay.
I'll send you that picture and you can put it on the podcast.
So do you like that?
Yeah, does this mean I'm going to be distracted the whole entire podcast?
No, yeah, put it away.
Should
Don't,
have waited
don't.
till the end.
Yeah, great. So now put it to the side.
Well,
Kim, you gotta take it from her if you must.
and
No.
then she'll be distracted.
Pretty much.
So I believe that picks up right when the series ends.
Oh,
Does it
that's so
say it
cool.
starts at season 10?
I believe it does.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a continuation of what happened at the end of the TV series.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, it's not, and a lot of series have taken a cue from that now. When Smallville ended, they did
Right.
season whatever. The
Right.
next
Yes, they
season
did.
was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And dude, legally they weren't allowed to do Bruce Wayne in the show, so they did Batman and Robin in season whatever, the comic.
Uh-huh.
Awful. Absolutely horrible. Like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, he looks like an owl. This looks like crap. I think they used the female Robin.
Ah.
Awful. Can I
What?
say? Can I do movie news?
Well, we have to introduce one more person still. Can you wait like 1 minute?
Be introduced.
So next
I'm
to
here.
the fangirl,
I'm
we
introduced. Go ahead.
no, give your full intro. Come on, we're not skipping over you. Next to the fangirl, we have.
Goddess of Gore.
And how are you?
I'm just swell.
Good. You a little sad the
Bring in-
Halloween's over.
Sure.
I mean, 'cause I know you love, Fright
Scaring
Fest or
kids?
not Fright Fest,
Oh,
Fear
sorry.
Fest, I should
Yeah.
say. Fear Fest and
Everything's
everything.
scary.
Uh,
Scaring
her-
people and being scary.
Her and I were marathoning all the Halloween movies for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like, and I was saying to her the other day, I don't know what is the ultimate Halloween film for me. I mean, I guess you could say it's Halloween.
Halloween.
But I also now like the movie Trick or Treat. I like to watch that on Halloween.
That's the one with the little pumpkin head kid, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And
yeah, like,
that
he's
is
got like a little vinyl pops doll. Is that good?
yeah. Trick or Treat is a really good film.
Oh, all right.
Like it's not an anthology, but it's like 4 short films in one that have one central theme in all of them.
Okay.
And Trick or Treat 2 was just greenlit at Fantastic Fest a couple months ago.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, neato.
So yeah, we'll watch that at some point. I think
Yeah.
Trick or Treat is a really good Halloween film.
Are you gonna cuddle with me and keep me safe, Mike?
Am I allowed to do that?
yes.
Okay.
Sorry, answer
As
for
Karen
you.
says her in films. us.
So you have some comic book news.
Okay, so unrelated to the stuff that we'll talk about on our feed next week, and unrelated to the stuff that we're going to talk about tonight, they have cast. I don't remember who was cast, but they cast a Robin for Batman Superman,
Right.
Really?
and it's a female.
Yes.
just like it was in The Dark Knight Rises. Or
Right.
in The Dark Knight Returns.
Right.
Some little redhead girl.
I have no idea who it is, but I had heard that. Yeah.
I don't remember, but it was confirmed.
Right. So, yeah, because in that story, Robin is like 12 or 13, and it's a little girl. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 50 years in the future, or 20 years in the future or something.
25 or 30, something like
Something
that.
like
yeah.
that. And superheroes have been outlawed, and Superman works for the government.
Right.
So he's like a personal assassin for the president, basically. And then Bruce decides to go active again because Gotham has gone to complete shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets out his fucking mech unit. He's just like Bat Mech. And this little redhead girl decides her brother is joins the gang that's taken over the city. She decides
Sons of the Joker, right? Or
no. Part 1 was the mutants.
Oh, okay.
Sons of the Joker were part 2.
Okay.
And then they became Sons of the Batman.
Right.
So
we can explain all that, and we won't get all the details
Sons of
of
the
it.
Joker was just the name of a
Okay.
gang.
Yeah, I figured.
And then when Bruce killed Joker, they switched teams and became the Sons of the Batman.
Yeah,
And-
like really
They
good
don't have very
allegiance they have.
strong,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're very good of allegiance with the Joker.
No,
They just.
yeah.
Okay, he's dead. Okay, yeah, we'll
Well,
join
I
you.
don't
You
know.
killed him.
with how it ends, they kind of build an allegiance.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this sorry? Going back to the Robin news, is it confirmed?
Yes.
It's confirmed. Okay, I'm just trying to look for
I heard it was confirmed.
because I know that there's been a lot of speculation where Jenna Malone was going to be like that like she was seen around set and things like that, and
I don't remember if
But-
it was Jenna Malone. It might have been, though.
because like. I mean, right now I can't find anything that's 100%. Like,
Okay.
that there are a lot of rumors saying that that's possibly is what's happening.
I saw it on Facebook for
Okay.
like 4 days in a row.
Okay.
So usually that's after
or
4
at least
days.
it's close to being
Right.
confirmed
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something like
If
that.
it's not confirmed, then they're really close
but
to having it.
it would be
happen. Right.
awesome if it's Jenna Malone because
Yeah.
I love her.
I do like her.
Like, to pieces.
And
So-
what is finally confirmed, who Karen loves to pieces, is that Benedict Cumberbatch, and Steve is still convinced that is not a real name. Every time I say it, he's like, that's not a name. We were watching Top Gear, and he's like, this person's name is Benedict Cumberbatch. And I was like, do you know who that is? He's like, who? I was like, that's Khan.
And Sherlock.
And Sherlock. We haven't watched that yet. We're still burning through a lot of shit. Bitch, better slow your roll. Anyway, Homeboy was cast as Doctor Strange.
Yep.
So I am actually really excited about that.
Me too.
I,
Probably for completely
You know what?
different reasons.
I didn't
but-
see that casting coming, but I agree with that casting.
You know what
That-
casting I wanted that would have never happened? It was never even joked about. But a friend and I joked about it, and I was like, that would be fucking perfect. Would be Hugh Laurie.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would have been really cool.
I was
yeah.
like, my friend and I were just joking about it. I was like, oh my god, I want that so bad. It'll never happen.
For a
I want
while-
Hugh Laurie as Doctor Strange.
And I think I told you that for a
No,
while.
he
I
would be
wanted
Dr.
Jared
House
Leto.
as Doctor Strange.
I would have liked Jared Leto.
Yeah.
I would not. I was really glad that Joaquin Phoenix backed out.
Oh, yeah.
because that he would have been awful. And then who were the ones before him? Tom Hardy
Right.
would have been all right. He's a good actor, so I'm sure he would have done a good job. And then somebody else that he was up against, I was like, I don't want him.
No. They had actually brought up Daniel Radcliffe's name once.
That was a joke.
And no, it wasn't a joke. It was circulating the internet for a little bit. But
Harry Potter grows up to be the Sorcerer Supreme.
See, the thing is, Daniel Radcliffe, I think we've mentioned before, is not a bad actor.
No, he's not.
He's grown into a relatively good actor.
And he's a decent rapper.
Oh, had
I
you seen
haven't
that bit
actually
on Jimmy
seen
Fallon?
that yet. No, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, he is. He's a good actor. He's just not tall enough.
Yeah, that's what which I didn't want to say because I'm really little and short, small, but so that's why I don't like to.
Karen, you and I will never be cast in adult roles.
Yeah, I know.
We'll always be like the high schooler and his little sister.
Yeah, the interracial family.
Yeah.
There's an indie film somewhere looking for you right
Yeah.
now. So anyway, we're going to get into the movie news. Now, the first bit is probably going to really interest Kim and I, but I did want to bring it up because it's based off of a kind of a bullshit series now, which is that Julian Murray and Alexander Bustillo are going to take on a prequel called Leatherface. So they're going to do a prequel for the
Wasn't there already like 5 prequels made?
Yes, there was
Okay.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, which was the studio like Platinum Dunes, which was Michael Bay.
Right.
And then there were, 2 or 3 other films. Actually, I think it was like 4 tied into the original series.
Right.
And then there was Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D, which came out just last year. And apparently that was the worst ever made.
Oh, God.
Apparently that one was so fucking bad that because apparently they tried to make Leatherface into an anti-hero. Yeah. It's like, you can't just have a villain anymore. You have to be able to sympathize with the guy who wears someone else's face as his face. Yeah. Because that guy deserves to be the fucking anti-hero. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they have confirmed that they're doing a Leatherface movie, and here's the basis of the film. The story begins with the Leatherface character in his teenage years. He resides in a mental institution until he joins a pack of fellow patients who all break out and go on the run from the authorities.
What?
Yeah.
So are they trying to break totally away from everything else?
I don't know.
Texas Chainsaw?
I don't know. I mean, because here's the thing. The director of the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre has said that almost every other film is not canon to his series.
Okay.
Until the one that came out last year, and he says, oh yeah, this is canon. So the worst one in the series is canon. What the fuck are you doing? But
well,
anyway.
the one that was like the remake with Jessica Biel.
Yeah, that was a remake.
I mean, it was
yeah.
just a remake, but I mean, it still had the same. It was
still-
still a family.
Yeah, and it was still
It wasn't a group of mental patients.
right. Now, I don't know if they're going to say, oh, he was put there by the family and he breaks out and rejoins the family or some shit. I don't know. It's still really early production, but like, can you just leave this series
Is it
alone?
still in Texas at least?
I have no idea. Yeah, it's in Idaho now. Yeah,
Oklahoma Chainsaw Massacre.
has a nice ring to it. Yeah, but no, it's just the idea of just leave it alone. Really, one of the things I'd heard about before, and there's some truth to it, is that when you sit there and you explain every little detail about like a villain's origin, and you have to show why they became the way they were,
Right.
it takes the mystique out of that villain.
Yeah.
And they're no longer terrifying.
Yeah.
Now they
It
kind
makes
of
them more human.
right. Like unless they were born in hell, which probably isn't your origin story.
Interesting.
Right.
origin story.
You're humanizing them. That's what happened with the movie perfect example, Hannibal Rising, which was that awful prequel where it like tells him as a kid and how you like I think it had ties to the Holocaust or something. And it's like, oh, you feel, sympathetic for him. And I'm like, you're never supposed to feel sympathetic for Hannibal Lecter.
Right. I mean, it's fine making other movies where you have anti-heroes or people that do horrible things, but then you find out their story and you feel sorry, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But not like classic horror movie villains.
Right.
They only have like one purpose.
Unfortunately, isn't that kind of I don't know if it's fortunately or unfortunately, isn't that kind of the trend in Hollywood right now? Like,
it is.
With the new Dracula movie,
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
with
And again, that
actually
ties into it. They're humanizing
Yeah.
Dracula.
Yeah.
What where they're saying, oh look, he has to defend his family. It's not just
I
about.
feel like it started off with like Wicked. I mean,
Well,
Whoa.
yeah.
I'm not saying that.
Don't
it's
you
a
talk
bad
bad about
thing.
his Wicked.
I still have to see the play, and I
Because
love
Wicked
the song.
was amazing.
I'm not saying that it wasn't, but that's the kind of trend that it's,
And there's some truth in that. It's humanizing the Wicked Witch.
Yeah.
Right.
which you weren't supposed to feel bad for in the original Wizard of Oz,
Right.
I mean, I still feel bad for her because, damn, some houses dropped on her.
Right.
But anyway.
No, but they still even did that in Oz the Great and Powerful. As
Right.
bad as that movie was, they did the same thing.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, she's not really bad. She was just misguided.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that movie was awful. I fell asleep.
So, yeah, that's a trend now. It's like, oh, because in Hollywood, you can't just have someone who's evil. Everyone has to be a gray area.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they're just misguided. They had a bad upbringing and this and that.
Yeah, like
No, except
Loki.
terrorists.
Yeah.
It's It's kind of true. I mean, like, I'm not saying, like, I mean, that's the portrayal of it. I'm not saying
I know. I get what you're saying.
I'm not saying that is the case, but I'm just saying that, like, that is the one, that's, like, the one group of people that I don't think Hollywood gives the benefit of the doubt to. You know, cannibals, sure, why not? Terrorists, no. Anyway,
So we're going to get off of that topic. And the next bit of reboot news, because we have one of these each week now. Now, this is for television, not film, but a Lost in
That's worse.
a Lost in Space reboot is in the works.
wait.
So have any of you?
They're making another series of
Yes, another.
not like because they made that movie with Matt.
Yeah, I
LeBlanc.
was going to bring that up. Yeah.
Okay. I'm really confused.
That was based on an old show.
Okay.
There have been
Also
several
called Lost in
renditions of
Space.
Lost
Okay.
in Space, yeah. Now, the original series came out in 1965, and it was 1 year before the original Star Trek. So this was one of the first series that kind of went into that space genre, right?
And beyond.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Well,
infinity.
so there were, I think, 3 seasons for the original Lost in Space, and what made the series work was that when you thought about it, it was just very campy. It wasn't like Star Trek where it was, like the practicality of space, but even this first Star Trek series, because they had no budget, was kind of campy. This was just more.
What's really funny though? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Steve has showed me videos of I think it's Deep Space Nine, where Worf is like they're in like a cantina-esque thing, and there are Klingons from the original series, like in the background, and they're like, "Worf, are those?" And he's like, "Yes." And he's like, "But what? We don't talk about it." And so they make fun of the fact that they were awful.
Right. Right. Nice. I like that. I'll try and find that. Yeah, the original Lost in Space, a good way to describe it was kind of like Swiss Family Robinson in the future, where it was a family that gets either shipwrecked or, well, in this case, lost, and they have to try and survive with just themselves. And it worked for what it was. It only ran for 3 seasons, but it was fine. And then there was, I think back in 77, 78, there was a pilot that was made to try and revamp it. It failed. Then there was the 98 film with, I'm trying to remember. It was Heather Graham.
Yeah.
And
Matt LeBlanc.
Yeah, Matt LeBlanc.
Gary Oldman.
Gary
Yeah,
Oldman,
Gary
yes, as the
Oldman.
Doctor. Who I actually liked him as the Doctor. He was overacting a lot, but he was fun.
Lacey Schubert.
Yes.
Huh?
Lacey Schubert?
Is
Yeah.
that how you say it?
I think so.
I thought it was
And I forget the father, but he's been in a lot of stuff too.
Chabert. I don't know.
The father was in The Village, and
I can't.
but
I don't
he
know
gave
his name.
such a flat performance in that movie. But anyway, I digress.
William Hurt.
Yeah.
William Hurt. There we go. Yeah, William Hurt was the dad.
What was that line? He's like, "I love you, wife."
I love you, wife. Oh my God! There's a line where it
Mimi
looks like
Rogers.
they're going out to basically what could amount to a suicide mission, and his wife is standing right there, and he's saying goodbye to her for what could be the last time, and he looks at her and he says, "I love you, wife," just like that. I'm like, what the fuck was that? I love you, wife. Wow, it's like. If those were your last words to your loved one, your loved one would be like, you know what? Fuck you. Go die. Anyway, I didn't know this, but there was actually a 2003 attempt at rebooting this, where they again made a pilot, and the pilot was actually directed by John Woo, of all people. Yeah. But it was never picked up. So now they're going to try and do it again. Now, I don't think they've actually signed on which station it's going to be on. I think they're saying it's going to be CBS again. But Deadline is reporting that the screen team from Legendary Pictures, which is going to be Dracula Untold, which is Matt Samama, or Samama, Sazama, sorry, Sazama. God,
Your mama.
Yeah, yo mama.
We apologize for anybody we offend.
We apologize for butchering all your names. And then Burke Sharpless. I got that one. They were the ones who penned Dracula Untold, and they're going to be bringing this to television. So my only thought is, if you're going to do this, I got to figure how you're going to do this reboot. Because for Lost in Space, again, there was a campiness to the original series. So my thought is the only way to bring it to television modern day would be make it something, and it's easy to compare it to it, but something like Doctor Who, where you have to have a certain level of comedy, but still seriousness at key points.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the only way this series is going to work. Because the
You
Lost
should get Joss Whedon to do it.
Yes. Because
Kill everybody.
Oh yeah.
with the Lost in Space film, the problem with that was it went way too serious too much, but they were still trying to keep that camp factor. And that kind of doesn't work. You know, they still had a couple silly moments, but they were few and far between, and they weren't funny. They were just bad. So you have to have that combination, and Doctor Who pulls it off fairly well.
I mean, there are a lot of shows these days which do pull it off really well.
I mean, that's the best example I can think of.
Yeah, no, and I think like that's kind of the new that's the kind of show that I like to watch. So maybe that's why I think that there are a lot of them out there when there aren't that many. It's just those are the only shows I watch. But like, you know, things kind of like not necessarily a serious subject matter, but kind of have that lightheartedness versus that seriousness that's inherent in kind of the content and the context of it. But.
I'm actually okay with this. You know, if they're making another film, I'd probably be dreading it a little more just because of how bad that 97, 98 film was.
Yeah.
But a TV series, I could get into it if it keeps that level of camp and they improve on, you know, that, well, not necessarily improve, but if they are able to keep that family dynamic together and not have it you know, be so creepy with that doctor always hanging out with the kids, you know, because that was always creepy in the original show. This could work. It could work. So one of the few reboots we've mentioned in the last couple months that actually could be promising, you know. But
We'll see.
a last bit of news, and I call it movie news, but it really isn't. But it came up earlier, and I mentioned it to Paul, and just to kind of get a laugh. But it was confirmed earlier that Christopher Nolan actually rejected a post-credits scene for the movie Man of Steel. Now, they had originally planned on hinting at something for the next film. They didn't know what it was going to be, Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice or Justice League. They didn't know what it was going to be at that point. But they wanted to hint at something. And Christopher Nolan immediately shot it down when Zack Snyder came to him about it. And he was quoted as saying, "A real movie wouldn't do that."
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, damn, shots fired.
Wow.
See, and Mike brought this to me earlier, and initially I started to get a little defensive about it, but, I mean, when it really comes down to it, his Batman movies were decent. His third one was kind of beat. His Superman movie was decent, but Marvel doing these, and it's working for them, is making a lot of money. They're for the fans, which is what these movies need to be anyway.
Exactly.
And we like it.
Yeah.
So
He's like, I feel like that comment isn't, you know, it's insulting to the fans, really.
I think it's just a pop shot at Marvel. Because,
But-
you know, he's now, like, DC's golden boy. He's not even directing this movie, but he's DC's golden boy right now. They're like, everyone's like, fuck Zack Snyder. We want Christopher Nolan, you know?
But like, but that's really taking a shot, not just at, I think, the studio or Marvel. It's taking a shot at the fans who are enjoying these, you know, at post-credit scenes.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily saying it's wrong to enjoy them. I think it's saying, well, you know, if you enjoy the movie, that's fine, but
you're saying a real movie doesn't, you know, wouldn't do that. Like, I mean, as a fan who does enjoy that, I'm just like, well, you're just saying that what I just watched wasn't a movie. Like,
see, but like even more than enjoy, like we've come to expect and we look forward to.
yeah.
Like we spend just as much time as fans. I don't know if you do, not being as big into the comics as some of the rest of us are, but like Mike and I spend just as much time trying to figure out what they're gonna do in the end credit sequence as what they're gonna do in the actual movie.
Or, I mean, I might not look into it as much, but I'm thoroughly anticipating it, and I'm really excited for it, and kind of seeing what they're gonna do.
Like, I remember leading up to Iron Man 3, Mike and I, and it was confirmed it was originally supposed to be this. The original post-credit sequence in Iron Man 3 was Tony Stark receiving a stray message from the Guardians of the Galaxy. But then his contract ended at Iron Man 3. So they changed it just in case he didn't come back.
Right.
So
And that's when it says in the credits, Tony Stark will return, but they didn't say, Robert Downey Jr. will return. They said Tony Stark will return. They had to
he
say
said,
that.
he says, I'm always Iron Man.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so sexy. But so like we spent just as much time on what your next story is, like the next movie that we're gonna go see is, as we do with what they're planning next.
Yeah.
So, not to bash Nolan, but when he did The Dark Knight, it was great. I didn't immediately start going, what are they gonna do next?
Right.
When they did The Dark Knight Rises.
Well, he didn't plan on doing anything next. He thought The Dark Knight was going to be it, but then there was such a clamoring for another film. Initially, he's like, I don't want to do another Dark Knight film. But the studio pressured him so much, he's like, you know what, fine, I'll do another film.
Clearly he didn't want to, because Dark Knight Rises was beat.
Yeah.
But
I didn't hate it as much as Paul, but I have
didn't
problems
hate
with it.
I just didn't think that it was what everybody thought. Like, the more I hear people praise it, the more I don't like it. Because I'm just like, with the amount of flaws
I haven't
in that
heard many
movie-
people praise it as of late. I think more and more people are actually being like you and I and criticizing it more.
I mean,
I kind of don't remember it, which I think in itself is
I think that's
is
the
a pretty
greatest
big
thing you can say about
criticism.
a movie. I just don't remember.
I don't.
It left
anymore.
no impact on you. Yeah.
it left impacts on me. It left an impact with the fucking final fight scenes in the middle of the day with The Dark Knight. And I'm like,
I don't
no.
remember now.
Regardless, no one said this recently, and it made me laugh. It was just a quick pop shot at Marvel, and I was like, To which Marvel says, hey, look at our box office receipts, So
Yeah, really.
So anyway, we're going to get off of the movie news.
I have movie news.
Oh, you do?
I do have movie news.
Okay, go ahead.
I told you to mention it, but then you apparently forgot.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's everything.
But last week, Peter Jackson, Fran Walsh,
Oh, yes.
and
Yes. I'm sorry.
Philippa Boyens confirmed that Billy Boyd will be doing the end credit song for the last Hobbit film.
Battle of the Five Armies.
Yes.
Yes.
So I am super duper 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 excited about that.
And I'm happy about that because that was one of the more heartfelt moments from the final film, which was Return of the King, I should say.
Return of the King, yeah.
When he has his little song in the Hall of the Stewards.
Yes.
And it's called Mist and Shadow, I think. The actual song was a poem, but then Billy Boyd wrote
this
the
song.
melody and then sung it.
Yeah.
And I remember actually watching the making of for that scene, and he sung it, and he was feeling a little raw and walked off set and turned around, and everyone on set was crying.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. It's like that's
But yeah, I love Billy Boyd. And I think he's
but no,
amazing.
I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's made to be a singer, but he has a good voice. I think that
in a
song.
band.
Yeah, he's in a band.
Yeah,
Really?
they're called Bee Cake.
Bee cake.
Yes.
Beef cake?
Bee Cake.
Beefcake.
No.
Beefcake. Beefcake.
But yeah, no. I really like Billy Boyd. And actually, you should hear him sing. There was this one time where he went on the Sharon Osbourne show where he sang Baby One More Time, and oh my gosh, my panties flew off.
Wow.
It's
Wow. Wowie.
Wait, hold on. You wear panties?
any whoozy what's it.
I always just assumed you didn't because you never have them on when I'm here.
But yeah, no, that was Billy Boyd, right? Yeah,
So-
I'm really excited about this.
Good. I'm happy, and I'm happy to hear that.
But yeah, bringing Billy Boyd back from the original series to do this, I am super excited for.
Yeah, I
So,
like that. That's a good little inclusion that they're doing.
Yeah, I
So.
wrote to Billy Boyd and have his signed autographed picture and everything. So, yeah,
Fangirl.
not ashamed of it.
So we're gonna get into the trailers, and the first one being one that made every geek in America just scream with just squeeze and joys and just splooge on themselves, which was
Avengers 2, The Age of Ultron!
Yes.
I'm gonna show you something beautiful. Everyone screaming for mercy. want to protect the world, but you don't want it to change. You're all puppets, tangled in strings.
Where shall we start?
I mean, I don't know. The acting doesn't look very impressive.
No,
and
I'm
the
not excited about
story-
this at all. No,
and I don't need the backdrops. They're clearly on set, and the costume
Graphics are
designer
terrible.
just doesn't. Yeah, and the graphics. It's all very. No, fuck that noise. So
That was really difficult for them, by the way.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
it looks amazing,
Dude,
It does.
I saw this teaser and I'm sitting there looking at Ultron and I'm like, this guy is a fucking badass. Oh
Dude,
my god.
You know, in all the years I've been reading comic books, I never really thought like Ultron's face ever moved, and it doesn't in the books. Like it's just there's just like
it's
a voice
stationary,
box.
yeah.
But it's like expressions and shit in the movie, and I was like, I'm a little bit horrified.
It looks so good.
It looks amazing.
It's not far off from the comics.
No.
And even still, I'm like, holy shit. Holy shit. Now, in the first time you see him, it is a stationary face.
Well, the first time you see him, he's got like a fucking Tony Stark Iron Man face.
Right. And it's just like, it's somehow like cut up and manipulated and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not moving. But then when we later see him rebuilt and like with
builds
his
himself
final
a new
like
body.
like this isn't even my final form.
Yeah. Fucking perfect cell.
Right. And he comes back and you look at him and like, holy shit. And that voice, James Spader, holy hell.
Spader!
He is
Great
looking
job.
like he's doing
I
a
love
really
him.
good job with this.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's,
I really like James Spader, and I feel like he's got enough psychotic in him that
Oh, yeah.
he's kind of perfect.
yeah. I've been so excited for this film since they started Phase 2, and just now, once they finished. Well, no, I mean, even before they finished Guardians of the Galaxy, and they started working towards actually doing the Avengers movie. I mean, Mike and I have been trying to keep as much tabs on everything that's going on without, like, ruining stuff for us.
Right.
But, oh my god, just the way they did this trailer was just stunning.
Yeah, now, of course, it's become a joke, but I think it's really fitting, the I've Got No Strings song.
Yeah,
which was
I'm already
placed out-
scared of that song. Because Terry Crews does that in Gamer, and that shit fucking creeped me out. But yeah, and it plays in the background. This,
Yeah.
like, fucking children's choir, probably.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm
Well, I
never
mean-
going to be able to watch Pinocchio again.
And a couple cynical people pointed out, oh, well, you know, it's from a Disney property, so of course Disney's going to throw in their shit
So
in
the
there.
fuck what?
That's what I said. So
Yeah.
what? It fits perfectly in this trailer. So fuck you. Oh,
I'm
man.
so excited. And one thing that I'm really liking.
Oh, I was just asking. It's from Pinocchio.
Yes,
right?
yeah, from the movie Pinocchio.
Well,
yeah.
Pinocchio scared me, so.
Yeah,
There are some
that's
scary
a-
moments in Pinocchio. Yeah. That scene when the kid
movie.
turns into a donkey and screaming for mama, that's
Oh,
a
yeah.
scary scene when you're a
That
kid.
fucking whale scene wasn't
Yeah.
easy to
Oh,
sit
yeah.
through, too.
Yeah.
Shit.
So it all
yeah.
works.
There's a lot going on. It looks like they've got a really solid story, and it looks like they're gonna have a couple really good acts set up, because I think they're gonna start the movie with the twins as villains,
Yeah.
and then we see in the movie poster that the twins and Vision are gonna be in the final fight, and they haven't shown Vision in a trailer yet, which I actually really like. So if they never show Vision in a trailer, I will still be okay with it.
That's cool. Yeah.
Um,
I'm leaving a little bit more for the movie, which is
Yeah.
perfect. I love that.
And they've said about Vision that fans are really going to like how he's introduced, really going to like his character development, and really going to like where he ends up in the
Right.
end.
Now we're talking about Vision. We have to say Vision is Paul Bettany.
Vision is voiced by Paul Bettany.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you want to explain who Vision is going to be in this? Because, I mean, I'm sure some fans know who Vision is, but do you want to explain who Vision is?
It's Vision in the comics is Ultron's son. For all intents and purposes, he's Ultron's vision of the future.
Hold on. What's going on over here, girls? No.
Not paying attention to the man behind the curtain.
I'm like, they're passing notes in class.
Yeah. You want to share with everyone?
Can we read your note about who it is you have a crush on? The teacher's so hot. Oh my god.
Sorry. Continue, Paul.
He can give me math homework all the time. In the movie, it looks like Ultron probably hijacks Jarvis and makes him into, like, like uses him to start his perfect race.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jarvis is like, "Fuck that noise.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go be a good guy."
Mm-hmm. Which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
You know, it's not his proper origin, but you know what? They can do that. That's
Yeah.
fine. So, I
down
do
with
want to
it.
mention a couple things about this trailer. There's a couple little moments when they're like at the end when the song's kicking up and the tempo's getting really, a lot of bass tones and it's getting really warlike. They're cutting in between all these different shots, and out of nowhere, there's a random shot of ballerinas.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
I did.
What the fuck is that?
I don't know, but it kind of creeped me out even more.
Yeah, I was like, all of a sudden, like, you're cutting between Black Widow on a motorcycle and then the Hulkbuster and then
then
like
it's Black
a
Swan.
black outline of ballerinas.
Yeah.
Huh?
I don't know. Maybe that's what makes Vision go good.
Oh, pictures of ballerinas. Okay.
Maybe he's just like,
Maybe they're evil ballerinas.
maybe they're good
it's Black
ballerinas.
Swan.
Or good.
Maybe it's like, oh my god, how can a species that did ballet be that evil?
No, true. True enough. Now, a couple
And then a couple movies from now, Ultron's gonna come back and be like, "What are you, gay?"
Ballet is really evil.
Yeah.
I do want to say the initial reaction was everyone was geeking out about was Hulkbuster.
Oh my god!
And Hulkbuster looks great, but I was like, wait a minute, didn't we see a version of Hulkbuster
No,
in Iron
we
Man 3?
didn't. That wasn't a Hulkbuster. That
But
was
it looked like a
Igor.
Hulkbuster.
No, it didn't look like the Hulkbuster.
It was huge.
It's, okay, size does not make it a Hulkbuster.
Size doesn't matter.
It was Igor, the heavy lifting unit.
Okay.
That's what it was.
I
He spent some
trust-
time on the Hulkbuster. Igor was one of those ones he built overnight.
Okay.
And
all right.
apparently didn't explode because it was holding up that fucking platform.
Right. Hulkbuster looks really cool.
Yes, he does.
And so it's a suit within a suit.
Well, that's what it's always been.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Tony always wore his suit inside Hulkbuster.
Usually, yeah. It's usually something that connects around him.
Okay, fair enough. So we had that, and then of course we have the broken shield that we saw at one point, and of course I'm sure you've seen the sneak clip. The little tiny shot that was leaked at Comic-Con a while
with
back,
the
but
hammer.
with the hammer that we talked about, and you see who was Don Cheadle in that, which I thought was
Right.
kind of cool. That's a fun little scene.
Don Cheadle and Maria Hill
right?
Maria,
are all just like fucking hanging out drinking.
And that's a fun scene. It
And
doesn't
Stark-
really spoil anything.
What does he say? So if I can lift it, I can rule Asgard?
Yes.
Yeah.
he'd say, I'll be fair but sternly cruel.
I liked Black Widow's line.
Yeah, I don't have anything to prove.
Yeah.
I know that's a question I don't
And
need
then-
answered.
And
Yeah.
Steve goes to move it, and it like
Great.
nudges, and Thor's like,
Yeah,
"Oh, shit,
you
I
see
have to
Thor's
lose
face.
my
He's like,
job."
"Oh my god." That's a good scene.
Yeah.
I'm fine that that's like the only scene they're releasing,
And
because
I
that's
think,
fun.
I think that's going to be like a midway point scene. Like, I
yeah.
think it's going to be like after the twins, after they shut down whatever that Hydra base is, and everybody's kind of hanging out.
Because everyone's taking a break because basically Shield's not all but done with, but they're
Right.
kind of on hiatus. Yeah.
Well, I'm also still hoping that the show brings up something by the end of this season that kind of leads into Avengers 2. So.
It probably could.
When does it come out?
Comes out this summer. Is it May 2nd?
Something like that.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah.
It comes out like a month after Shield season 2 ends.
I still have to catch up with Shield.
It's getting good.
Yeah, I'm still in the middle of the first season, so
Okay.
I gotta catch up.
So only a couple more things to mention about Age of Ultron. One of them is that in the middle of this trailer, we see Andy Serkis out of nowhere. Like, Andy Serkis is in Age of Ultron? Really?
I still don't.
And but
remember
it hasn't been
seeing-
confirmed what part he's playing. We don't know who he
He's
is.
Ulysses Claw.
Ulysses Claw?
Yeah.
And who is that?
Ulysses Claw is a scientist who's obsessed with vibranium.
Okay. Because he looked like someone in the military.
Yeah. He's
Oh, okay.
a military scientist.
Okay.
He's obsessed with vibranium. He's been trying to find Wakanda to harvest their vibranium source. In the comics, he has a really stupid costume, and he's got this little like sound manipulator on his wrist that I guess is amplified by vibranium. And I'm pretty sure that Ultron's final form will be made of vibranium. And I'm hoping that if Serkis is in this movie, that he'll then also be in Black Panther.
Yes. So that's great. I mean,
With
more work for Andy Serkis because I think he is a very undervalued actor right now.
Yeah.
So good for him. And the last thing is, yes, it just confirmed it was yesterday or 2 days ago, that Idris Elba and Hiddleston will be in this movie. Either be cameos or make some sort of small contribution. We don't know what. But I would love to see Heimdall come down and start battling shit, you know? That'd be so much fun to see.
I think that it's going to be like, fuck, it's just going to be him opening the door.
Probably. I was like, hey guys, I'm here. I'm the doorkeeper.
Yeah.
Bye.
Who are you? I'm Heimdall. Who are you? What?
Okay, bye.
I would
End
love to see
scene.
Tony Stark walk into Asgard in the movies. Like, he would be such a douchebag, and
He
everybody
would.
would hate him.
You know, that was a running joke I'd heard a while back. When the first Thor movie came out, it's like, you have one black guy in all of Asgard, and what do? You make him a doorman.
Wow.
You going to fight the Frost Giant, sir? You want to go down to Earth, sir?
And it's not even me.
Wow.
Like, I'm not even the one being racist.
Pretty shocking.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Hey, we're going to move on. And the next trailer we have up is Insidious 3.
Hey. I'm so sorry this happened to you. I sent some flowers.
We got him. Great neighbors we have, huh? Crazy cat lady on one side and a kid who's clearly in love with you on the other.
So, I think the only person in this room who has seen the second one is actually Paul.
Yeah, and I actually really liked the second one. The second movie made the final scene in the first movie make sense.
Because, as we've talked about before, like Kim and I have said, we didn't like the ending of the first Insidious.
No, I didn't either. No. But it makes sense with what they did in the second one, and I really liked what they did in the second one. I thought it was really cool.
So we should watch the second one at some point,
Yeah.
I guess.
Okay.
This one doesn't seem related to that family, but the woman is still there. But
Right.
then
It said
it
something
said,
But
about
it's a
going
prequel.
To the
It
beginning.
is. It's a prequel.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a
Like,
prequel, but she has her fucking cell phone.
Right.
She's texting the neighbor kid.
It is an older cell phone.
I mean, yeah, but it
But-
started with Patrick Henry's character when he was a kid,
it did.
and that was like in the 70s.
Right. Well, it's gonna
Okay.
be. It's going to be after that, but before the events of the first kid.
That's
in
not the
first movie.
beginning.
Well, it is the beginning. Yeah, so, again, I haven't seen the second one, so maybe we can't comment on this third one too much, but I did want to say a few things about
Kim
it.
was laughing when she was watching it.
Yeah.
Were you laughing when she when he was like, I'm at my grandmother's, and then the random arm grabbed him?
No, I was actually laughing at the end where like something popped down or something, and this girl was just screaming.
Oh, it was the older woman. Yeah.
Oh yeah, was that who? It
Yeah,
was?
the
old
paranormal
lady that I hate.
expert, yeah. And like, there's a thing hanging out from the ceiling, and she's just screaming at it. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that was
move!
hilarious.
Or just something scream at it, move. But
That's how I
anyway,
handle when ghosts
The
jump in my
way
face.
she was screaming is just really
so
funny.
the director of this is actually Lee Whannell. And I bring him up because this is his directorial debut, but he was the original screenwriter for the first two films. So they have some continuity there. The original director was James Wan, and he directed the first two, and he's producing this, so he'll still have some sort of hand in it. I did want to say one thing about this trailer, which is a little confusing to me. So the first film was released in, I believe it was September of 2012, I believe. So it was a September release, which is good for a film like this. It's just before like the Halloween season.
Right.
Good time for it. The second one was released in April. So that, not a bad time of year, but
like Easter, that's perfect.
right, it's like, but it's an odd time of year. April isn't known for its horror films,
Right.
But only until recently when you got that remake of Nightmare on Elm Street in April, and I was like, oh my god, why? But this film is actually going to be released on May 29th. So it is like in the middle of all of the blockbusters. Yeah. So we're going to get all the big releases of this year. We're going to get, what are the big films coming out this summer other than Age of Ultron?
No, that's the only one. There's
That's
no movie
the-
coming out.
There's nothing
That's
else
the
coming
only
out.
one that anybody cares about.
The only one coming out.
This is getting a May 29th release, which is in the smack dab middle of
Memorial Day.
Yeah, it's Memorial Day
Right,
weekend,
yeah.
which is like the prime time season for summer releases. And I'm like, Insidious 3? Really? That's your prime movie to release? Like, you're not going to wait until the following Halloween or release it, in February when other horror films are released to combat, the chick flick time? May 29th? Really? You're going to go up against the big hitters. That makes no sense at all. I have a feeling this film
They're
is going
confident,
to...
bro.
No, I'm like,
They're brave.
they may be confident, but I'm just saying, I have a feeling this film is going to tank.
They're like, we got this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like Avengers: Age of Ultron, Insidious 3.
Yeah.
Sure.
Number 2.
Sure.
Yeah, buddy.
Who knows? It might change the release date.
I have a
That's
feeling
still
they
a ways
will.
away.
I have a good feeling they will. But there's no way they're going to release it on Memorial Day weekend. This is not that kind of movie. But that being said, I mean, again, having not seen the second one, I'm done with this genre. Or not this genre. I'm done with this series. But, yeah, my only thought is, if they can do something... that isn't so much in that Shadow Realm thing.
The Shadow Realm was cool in the second one. I'm telling you, you gotta watch it. Look, I'm not saying it was the best movie ever. I'm saying that it made the ending of the first one make sense, and it was decent.
Okay.
Like, they did a decent job of, like, making that Shadow world relevant.
All right.
And it was cool.
Well, I'll take your word for it. Kim and I think it's still on Netflix. We'll check it out.
That's where I watched it.
All right.
I was like, I'm not going to waste money. And it ended, and I was like, that was actually pretty good.
I was sad. Paranorman is no longer on Netflix.
Aww.
I really wanted to see it, and then
I have it.
I didn't watch it.
Well,
borrow it?
it's a Blu-ray. There might be
I don't
a
have
regular copy.
okay, if
I'll
there
have
is,
to
can I
check.
borrow?
Doesn't Robin have a PlayStation 3?
No.
What?
No.
No.
But no, Paranorman is really good. I love Paranorman.
You can say his name.
He's not Voldemort.
Lightning won't strike you dead.
I wasn't sure what we were doing.
Anyway, moving on to the next trailer, which is Fast and Furious 7.
Dominic Toretto, you don't know me. You're about to.
Looks like the sins of London have followed us home.
Remember Owen Shaw? This is his big bad brother.
We're being hunted. One last ride.
Get low when the whistle go.
So I get that, like, they had to release the one that he was working on when he died or whatever, but I'm so fucking sick of these movies, and I've never seen a single one of them.
Not a one. I've seen maybe two. The
I
first
need to
single
see
one.
them all.
I saw
haven't seen
part
any
of the
them.
first one, and I don't
okay.
care.
I have seen up until Fast 5. And I was done after Fast 5 because I was talking to Karen about this recently. At Fast 5, they started deviating so far away from what the Fast and Furious films are that I'm like, you know what, I'm done with this genre.
I
I'm
heard
done
that
with
the
series.
sixth one was the
I
best
heard,
one.
I heard the sixth one was really good too. But see, what happened was after Fast 5, people said that they started to become more like heist films as compared to racing films.
Okay.
Right. Now
but
here's
then,
the thing.
But then, see, okay, yeah, you go.
I like heist films, so I might
Me
actually
too,
start liking
exactly.
it then.
No,
That's
but
what
I'm
too.
okay with heist films too. And the Fast and the Furious movie had a heist at the end.
Okay.
But even in the second one, they had kind of something like that. But these films weren't about heists. These films, at its core, were about the cars, the racing,
And the
And
sex
the
and
women.
drugs.
Oh.
No, about-
sexy
yeah.
drugs.
The
Sex and drugs.
Oh, sex and
You
drugs.
said sexy drugs.
That's what I thought he said.
Doing
Sexy
cocaine off
drugs.
of half-naked women.
Yeah, Mary Jane. Yeah. Anyway, but at its core, that's what these films were about. And then they hit Fast 5, and the entire thing was a heist movie. They had one lead up to a race scene, and then when they went to race, they cut to something else. I'm like, so the one race scene you were gonna have, you cut from the fucking movie. What
So-
are you
and then-
thinking?
but then see, I asked him like this. So I was like, okay, during the heists, were they driving fast?
Yeah.
Were they really angry at things and at the
Furious.
world?
Right.
So it's Fast and Furious. It's still okay. It lives up to the name. I'm
Kim, are
good
you
with
taking
it.
notes here? Because that was amazing. Yes. I'm sorry. Okay. Now go think about what you've done.
I agree and don't agree. I'm sorry. I just want racing. Show me racing.
Well,
I
then
don't-
go watch Need for Speed.
Yeah.
See, and that's what I don't want. Like, I don't give a fuck about a movie about people driving fast.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Me
having an
too.
attitude while doing it.
Exactly.
Fucking heist movies are awesome. I love heist movies. So if the sixth one was a heist movie, I might fucking watch
like
it.
people say the sixth one was really good, so I might just go and watch.
I
the
think
sixth one.
because at
Karen
the,
and I are going to go and cuddle and watch that movie.
Here's-
By the way, I really like to cuddle when I watch movies.
I've noticed this
So
trend.
if we could just, like, get some movies I like to call.
I will say this. Apparently, I started noticing at the end of the 5th one, and it happened in the 6th. But again, I haven't seen it. They just said, you know what? Fuck logic. They started saying, you know what? This is stuff that the Mythbusters are going to try and break. We'll just shove everything out there and have it make no damn sense at all. We're breaking all the rules of physics.
You don't know. The 6th one was supposed to be really good, and you haven't seen it. So.
No, but
really good doesn't mean really realistic.
In this trailer where he runs up the train and then catches her. Right.
It's
and she drives
to
and the
compare
back
it
of
to
the car
something.
Goes right over the edge.
To compare it to something, it would be the Expendables of heist racing films.
I'm okay with that.
And I'm okay with that too.
Because they kept pulling out, like, kept popping up all these different actors, like Jason Statham.
Right.
That's true.
What the hell is that guy's name?
Dwayne Johnson?
No. He was in the other one.
Ludacris?
No.
Kurt Russell?
Yes, that
Kurt
guy.
Russell.
Kurt
Yeah.
Russell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And, like,
I
all
saw him
these
and I was like,
different
really?
people.
Kurt Russell? Really? Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just popping people up, and apparently Statham is just in this genre of these,
Handsome Rob.
Yeah, just these,
Handsome
fuck
Rob.
physics films.
From The Italian Job.
No, I didn't see it.
You didn't see The Italian Job?
No,
That was a good
Oh
movie.
my god.
That's a good heist film. I like The Italian Job.
They are still in talks about doing The Venice Job.
Really?
No,
I thought it was the Brazilian Job.
It's like it's like
sounds
12
like-
years after the first one.
wow.
I'd
been
still
playing it for a
watch
long time.
it.
I think they need to rethink the name.
I agree.
Oh yeah, you're
It
right.
would be Handsome Rob's porn.
But yeah.
It's such a great movie. The scene where he goes to get the keys
Yeah.
and Seth Green is just sitting at the
Oh,
car and
I
he's like,
love it.
"Oh, right, I'm just gonna take your virginity, right? Yeah, and these keys too."
Oh, that's adorable.
Now, there's one thing we have to talk about with this trailer, and of course this upcoming movie, is that, of course, Paul Walker is not going to be in the entire film. His role is going to be filled one of two ways. First off, they have 4 actors who are basically stuntmen who look like Paul Walker. And they're going to be filling his role on a lot of, like, not background shots, but like shots where you really don't need to see his face.
Mm-hmm.
But in the shots where you do have to see his face, they are using CGI on these body doubles. So they're basically going to be doing motion capture on these guys and filling in Paul Walker's face on them.
Mm-hmm. So he's not going to be talking?
Probably not. But for other scenes, we're going to see the actor's face, and it's going to be Paul Walker's brothers. They're filling in roles for him, and that is that's Caleb and Cody Walker. So they're actually filling in for their brother in these scenes. But apparently they're going to be talking and performing the role. So you're going to see a different actor in some scenes, but it's supposed to be that character.
Are they gonna face over them?
Not over the brothers.
Do they look enough like him?
Apparently they do. I have not seen these brothers.
Kind of
but-
like what's her face in the Pirates movie.
The Pirates movie.
The 4th Pirates movie.
On Stranger Tides?
Penelope Cruz. Her
Right.
sister filled in for her when she got pregnant. When she was pregnant and
Really?
she didn't film some scenes. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they look really similar apparently.
That's cool.
So
I didn't finish that movie. I tried twice and I fell asleep.
I wasn't a huge fan of On Stranger Tides. I didn't think it was as bad as the third one, but
I didn't care. It had Orlando Bloom in it.
Fangirl. So yeah, they're introducing a couple new people in this. Of course, they have still the original big cast. You have Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
I cannot stand Michelle.
I know most people can't, but I have such a big girl crush on her that I don't even know why or how, but I just do.
She likes a strong woman.
Yeah.
There's also Ludacris, and introducing this, we have Jason Statham and Kurt Russell. I'm like, okay, so they're going towards this. Okay, the big cast with physics bending scenes. It's like, okay, you're turning this into racing Expendables, which it's in and of itself isn't a bad thing, but again, I still want that original series. I want it to go back to its roots, but apparently I'm just being a nostalgic hipster about it, so I don't know.
I like Fast and the Furious before it was cool. When it was still racing.
Anyone else have anything to say about this?
No.
I was just going to say, I was convinced that they were going to kill Ludacris in the first scene, but then they showed a different scene where he was in, and I was like, oh, I guess they didn't.
Oh, shit. Yeah. When you see that semi or that rig bust open like a bunch of like machine guns on the
yeah.
side. I'm like, what the fuck?
I was like, oh, Ludacris is dead. Oh, wait, he's not. He's still driving.
See, that's the kind of
and then
shit
he,
we
like,
need in
crashes.
Marvel.
Oh, Ludacris is dead. Oh, wait, he's not. He's in this other scene. Okay.
Yeah, and they have this massive rolling, like, fortress of a tank, like, rig, all for one prisoner, this one girl. Like, who the hell is she?
Well, you'll find out if you watch the movie.
And I could be wrong, but is that actress, the girl, the black girl from Game of Thrones? Do you know who I'm talking about? Like,
Daenerys' assistant?
Yeah.
Oh,
Daenerys' assistant. It looks just like her, yeah.
I knew she looked familiar.
Yeah, it could be her, but I couldn't
or
tell.
you could just be really racist right now.
No.
It's either it could be her or you're really racist. It's one of the two, right?
Great. So now let's confirm this, please.
Okay.
So let's look this up.
Like her.
Oh, okay.
I found her.
You're still really
So you
racist.
are correct.
So yeah, okay, I was right.
No, you're still racist.
Fuck you!
You happen to be right this time, too.
Anyway, gonna move on to the next trailer, which is one that we'd actually talked about a little while back, but we actually had to scrub it from an old podcast, so we're moving it to this one, which is The Penguins of Madagascar.
Their untold story began as four brothers.
Are you my family? You don't have a family, and we're all going to die.
What?
What's the matter with you, Kowalski?
Who grew up to become masters of disguise, espionage, and aerial assault.
Follow me, boys! We're going in hot. No one likes to show off, Private.
Now, when it comes to stopping a madman,
I have the power to destroy you.
they'll have some competition.
What the heck is going on?
Remain calm, penguins. You are now under the protection of the North Wind.
We don't even know who the heck you are.
The North Wind is an elite undercover The North Wind is an elite undercover task force dedicated to helping animals who can't help themselves.
You mean the penguins?
The penguins.
Penguins. The penguins.
Have you seen this, Paul? The penguins.
Oh my god! I can't stop laughing.
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, go watch Cumberbatch try and pronounce penguins. Just look that up and you'll laugh.
Oh my god.
Penguins. Anyway, so with this movie, we have a returning director, Eric Darnell, who directed all of the Madagascar films. So he's returning for this. And I do have to say, for the original movies, the penguins were usually my favorite part of the film.
Yeah.
I still like the first Madagascar, but
I sometimes watched the show.
Yeah, I watched the
show. I would watch that occasionally, and I had fun. Yeah. Now some of the voice cast has changed. Most of them are returning, but the voice of Kowalski has changed. In the show, it was a different actor than it was in the movies, but they've brought back the original guy from the movies to do the voice for Kowalski again. So it's fine. But
I guess.
Yeah, I know you liked the guy in the television show.
I don't know, I'm just used to the cartoon voices now.
But we have a couple of big additions to this, the first of which Karen is squeeing about, which is Benedict Cumberbatch as Classified. He is the wolf, I believe.
Yes.
Who is the head of some secret animal spy team.
Or
yeah.
something.
And
never mind.
What? No, say it.
Like Phineas and Ferb.
Another Phineas and Ferb fan in the building.
When Phineas and Ferb first came on TV, my sister was like, "This is my favorite show," and I was like, "This is the first time this show's ever aired. It is not your favorite show." And then I sat down and I watched it. My mom's like, "What are you watching?" "This is my favorite show." That show is fucking great. They did a Star Wars version of it like 4 months back. Yo, Steve was like, "What the fuck are you watching?" I was like, "I'm not even ashamed."
I think I scared Mike one time when I was singing one of the songs.
Oh yeah, there's some song in there. And it's something about "And My Heart Keeps Something." I don't know what it is, but it's a song that's
Gitchy Goo means that I love you.
Yeah, that. You know all the lyrics, and you're sitting there reciting them.
all of them.
You knew all
Most
of them.
of them.
And I'm sitting there listening like, oh my god, this is kind of scary.
Like, you know you're dating her, right?
Wait, did we just reverse that? It's finally reversed.
For a moment.
For a moment. No, also
this coming from the guy who fucking knows all of the Blues songs. Still,
right.
So.
Anyway.
Wait, do you know all the Blues Clues songs?
Hell yeah.
I know all the
No, I do.
songs.
Oh,
me?
Do you?
I do,
I thought
yeah.
you did.
No, I
Wait,
don't.
Have you ever seen the episode where Steve was a clue?
Yes.
That was like
That was the
best
birthday party,
ever.
wasn't it?
I think I've seen
It
that.
could have been.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. He was like, I'm a clue!
He was super excited.
I like that show.
Me too. Till they got Joe.
Yeah, I don't know any Joe songs. Joe changed the songs. I didn't fucking care.
I like Steve.
I have no idea what they're talking about, guys. Anyway, so also in this, we have John Malkovich as the lead villain, which is Octavius. And I had to say, in this trailer, I did laugh pretty hard at the whole sequence when they're like trying to talk in the monitors. Because I've always thought, in some sort of, some nefarious villain is coming in and trying to do something like this. This would probably happen more often than not.
Yeah, it should happen more often than not.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yes, Malkovich is playing Octavius, and I like that whole sequence.
I like the whole trailer. I laughed the whole entire time.
Yeah, I know you were laughing particularly hard with the whole Cheetos.
Oh
scene.
my god, that was
Yeah, that
so
was pretty funny.
I was laughing so hard. 'Cause I feel like that's something I would do.
It's like, now, Fangirl, when we talk about the podcast, it's crunch.
I know.
Like, are you okay? Crunch.
Cheetos all over my face.
Are you paying attention? Crunch.
Oh,
We need to get through the pocket. Crunch.
Next time, you should do that.
Bring a bag of
Have a
Cheetos.
bag of Cheetos. Chew right into the microphone.
Please don't.
He'd get so mad. Like, remember that time when I shot him? God.
No, I just
What?
He gets so mad.
Oh, you weren't there.
Usually when someone gets shot by somebody,
usually pretty
they're
mad.
allowed to be mad.
It was on the
about
film
it.
shoot for 28 Reviews Later,
Right.
and there was a scene that I wasn't able to get right. I just don't know if I couldn't get the wording right. Like, I
No,
couldn't
your
get the
facial
inflection right.
expression.
Yeah,
My
he
facial
couldn't get, like,
expressions.
the emotion right. Like,
So
he was
they
just
had
weird.
an airsoft gun in the corner as a prop,
And
I'm sitting there trying to recite it,
and shoot him.
and in the middle of a scene, he just pulls out and just shoots me with the airsoft gun, and it drew blood.
No, hold on.
No, technically the scene was
The
you
scene
getting shot.
was you getting shot.
Right.
It wasn't just me randomly shooting you.
But you still fucking shot me.
I told you I would. I said if you can't get it right, I'll shoot you. And you didn't take me seriously. That is not my fault.
Yet you shot me and it drew blood.
Okay, I shot you and I aimed a little too low and it skimmed your hand before it hit you in
No,
the tip.
it hit me on like the bottom of my arm.
Whatever. Nobody cares. You healed. It was supposed to just shoot him in the boob, but it skimmed his something else.
We should never give Paul a gun.
No,
Exactly.
never. Even if it's an
Lesson of the
airsoft,
story.
never.
Never.
This isn't fair. One time you shoot somebody on set and they never give you a gun again.
So moving on from Penguins of Madagascar to another animated film, which is Minions.
Minions. Minions have been on this planet far longer than we have. They go by many names. Dave, Carl. Oh, that one is Norbert. He's an idiot. They all share the same goal. To serve the most despicable master around.
C'est le Big Boss. C'est la banana. Miam, miam. Aïe, aïe, aïe.
Finding a master was easy. Keeping a master, that's where things got tricky.
Oh.
But nonetheless, they kept on looking.
So I saw this trailer yesterday, and I wrote up the text that said, we're reviewing Minions tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I just deleted the text, and I said,
I texted
we're
him
going to
too.
fucking review it. I know we are, so there's no point in me. And then when we're going to do this one now. I know.
Yeah,
I already watched it.
Yeah, I texted him, like, right after he sent out that message, like with all the trailers, and I'm just like, why are we not doing Minions? Like,
because it was just released that day. I was like, oh, holy crap! Okay, Minions, we got to add it real quick.
Yeah.
Now also with this, we have Pierre Coffin actually directing. Now he has directed all the Despicable Me films, and you may not know this. He does all the voices of the Minions.
Oh, wow.
I did know
Yeah.
that.
So the director has been doing all these voices since the first film.
He's like the South Park guys.
Yeah. So, but power to him. He's doing like double duty on this. And he does a very good job with all these voices.
Yeah.
You know, despite the fact that they're all really supposed to be like clones of each other, they all have unique personalities and their own voice inflections, and they do a good job. I don't know if they just do that in post or not, but I hope it's him doing that. But they're all fine. They're all funny.
Yeah.
Now,
I think this movie looks super adorable.
it does. It looks very funny.
I cannot wait.
I
It looks
know.
great. I think
that banana scene.
Oh, the
Yeah.
banana scene
I
was
was just
good.
like, oh yeah.
And then when like they get to New York and it's like 42, what is it? 42
Yeah,
BG
BG
before Gru.
Yeah.
I was like, this
Yeah.
is gonna be great.
Yeah. Now, not too much has been revealed about the plot, but there has been a decent cast list revealed. One of which is Sandra Bullock as the lead villain.
I'm excited about
I
that.
saw the list of names.
Yeah.
But like, because they didn't have any voices, they just had the
Right.
minions
Yeah.
through the trailer. I was like, oh, I wonder what these guys are doing.
No, I say the lead villain, but of course the lead villain is probably going to be, the lead protagonist.
Yeah.
And she is playing a character called Scarlet Overkill.
I love it already.
Yeah. Apparently in this world there hasn't been a lead supervillainess yet. So she's trying to like get her own
Get her name out there?
Like get her name out there, yeah. And the Minions try to get with her. Now there's other villains who are trying to recruit the Minions, including but not limited to. There we go. Michael Keaton and Steve Coogan. Now, I don't know who Michael Keaton is voicing. Do you guys know who Steve Coogan is?
Yes.
Give a couple of his movies. I'm
the only one I can think of is Around the World in 80 Days.
right.
He was in Philomena?
Yes.
Yeah, he was the reporter in Philomena.
And I was thinking Alan Partridge.
Yeah.
Alan Partridge. He was in Tropic Thunder as
Right.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently he was also in Despicable Me 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh, I didn't know that.
Oh, he was in Night at the Museum.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's the Spartan leader, the little tiny guy who's opposite of Owen Wilson.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's him. I was trying to he's in some sort of children's series. I forget what it was. And there we go. So, anyway, this looks very, very funny. I was skeptical about this at first because I just thought, they're going to spin off because the Minions were admittedly like one of the funniest parts of the Despicable Me films. And now they're just going to bank off the Minions. But you know what? They're doing something original with this.
I was not expecting this. Like
Neither was I.
It looks a lot better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to watch it regardless, but now I'm definitely going to watch it.
Right. It looks fun. It looks like just good fun.
How they killed all their
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And there's a good list in there. So it starts off with a T-Rex.
Yeah.
Then you see Genghis Khan. Then you see Napoleon. And there's another one in there. I forget
Dracula.
who. Was it Dracula? Yeah. And it's killing them all. I'm like, holy shit, guys.
That's great.
Nah.
Brings out a little birthday cake.
That was adorable.
Makes me want to be a villain so they could come
And
help me.
So moving off of that trailer, we're going to get into one that I kind of included mainly for Paul, but just because you don't like technology. But
Oh.
The next one is Ex Machina.
Hello.
How do you feel about her?
Oh man, she's amazing.
You're impressed?
Yes. Do you want to be my friend?
Of course. Now the question is, how does she feel about you?
Do you think about me when we aren't together?
Did you give her sexuality as a diversion tactic?
This is your insecurity talking. This is not your intellect.
Did you know that I was brought here to test you?
Does Ava actually like you? Or is she pretending to like you?
Now, I originally looked up this trailer because, as Paul had mentioned, there is a graphic novel series put out by Vertigo called Ex Machina, which was like, oh my god, they're doing an Ex Machina film. Yeah, I would love that.
I was kind of excited.
I was like, holy hell, yes, let's do that, because that graphic novel series is really intriguing. What they do with like an alternate world in New York and like the middle of the 2000s. So I'd be all in for that, but turns out that's not the case. Now that being said, I'm still into this. I think this looks really interesting. It's about a guy who goes in for the human portion of the Turing test, which is trying to confirm, in fact, that this AI can pass as human. The lead actor in this, I'm trying to remember the actor's name. Domhnall Gleeson. Now, yeah, you know who he is now, don't you?
Yes, he was
Bill Weasley
from Harry Potter.
Yep.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The main guy?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
The lead actor, yeah, he played Bill Weasley in the Deathly Hallows 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And he is the lead actor in this. And he looks like he's doing a decent job. I didn't know this, but apparently he's been cast as a lead in Star Wars Episode 7.
Huh.
So, a little fun. I thought it was kind of interesting, him dealing with androids, which he'll probably end up doing in Episode 7. Little tiny. Yeah. Serendipity there. But anyway, the director of this is actually the director of 28 Days Later and Dread, which is Alex Garland. So actually, let me rephrase that. He wasn't the director of this film. He was the screenwriter of this film. This is actually his directorial debut.
Okay.
So he was the screenwriter for 28 Days Later, Sunshine, and Dread. All films, well, I haven't seen Sunshine, but
Sunshine was pretty good.
28 Days Later and Dread, I really, really liked. We just watched Dread not about a month or so ago, and I really liked that version of Dread. Now, the original one was Stallone, and that one is actually kind of bad.
How dare you?
But this version, you could tell Carl Urban was like, yeah, I know this comic book character, and I'm going to do him justice. And it worked well, is what it was.
And it's Carl Urban. He's kind of awesome.
Yeah, and when people saw that, they were like, okay, if you're going to do a Batman versus Superman, Batman should be Carl Urban. Because you can tell in that, like, when you see Dredd in that, it's like, you can tell he can be a good Batman. You know? But
instead they cast Ben Affleck.
Well, we'll see how that goes. But as far as this, movies like this, I'm always, I'm sorry, I'm going to use my word, intrigued by.
I'm going to buy you a thesaurus and highlight the word intrigued.
Use any of these besides intrigued. But it's the idea of when AI gets to this point, how can we tell if it's a human? How can we tell if it's a machine? Besides the fact that, she's pulling off her arms and is like clear in half her body. If she was wearing clothes, if she had hair on, how could you tell?
Well, it looked like she was like, as it progressed, she was assembling herself.
That's what it looked like too, yeah.
Like going from just like a face to like, I mean like a humanoid face.
To like
human arms and skin and stuff. Instead of just metal. Or whatever alloys. I don't know.
So, when I first looked at this, and you're probably going to hate this comparison.
Oh, God. I can already tell where you're going.
It looked like they had given the AI from her a body.
That's what I was about. I was going to say that.
And
but you didn't like that movie.
No, I didn't.
Right.
I did not think that at all.
Really?
Really?
I mean, this looks far more sinister than her. Yeah. But I still thought that's what the route they were trying to go.
I didn't get that impression. Maybe because I just didn't want anything associated with her. I don't know.
I never saw that movie, but I thought it looked fucking awful.
Her?
And ridiculous and creepy. Yes. And that shit won awards, and I'm like, I want to leave the planet now.
I'll go with you.
Karen, I need you to watch
I don't want to.
Why? Why am I the only one in the room who likes her?
Because
what?
Nothing. That's just not the. I don't.
She doesn't like those kinds of movies.
Yeah, it's just too I feel like it's trying too hard.
I think it did.
Trying to.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Because even watching.
So you're saying it was Oscar bait?
No, I don't think it was even to that level. Like, I just when I saw the trailer, I was just like. And that was my gut reaction to it. I'm just like, okay, like it was trying so hard to be all philosophical and, you know, having all these questions, but at the same time it's like, okay.
All right, fair enough. I mean, 'cause my whole thing is I like movies that explore this idea of where does humanity end and where does technology begin.
I don't think that's a bad idea to explore, but I don't necessarily think Her was the way to go.
The thing with Her is it just took out the whole like android face element. It was just a computer. There was nothing there. This introduces that.
Yeah,
because, and that's a question you need to raise. Like, why does the machine have to have a body for it to be considered human?
But it's
you
really
know?
weird because then it's like Siri. Like, it's basically, you know.
Okay, but even Siri would fail the Turing test. Now, do you know what the Turing test is?
It's like Jarvis.
Jarvis would pass the Turing test.
I know. That's what
I'm saying.
saying.
Her is
like Jarvis.
Right.
Jarvis is awesome. But like
Jarvis doesn't try to, well, I guess we don't really know.
But
Jarvis doesn't try to have sex with Tony.
You don't know what goes on between him and
That's
Pepper
what I
in the background.
That's what I said.
but that concept is so, like, I mean, not to say that that's not an interesting concept, but I don't know.
I'm pretty much done. I was just going to say I like movies that explore this idea of, you know, and it says early in the trailer, and you had mentioned that there's just a lot of words in the beginning of this trailer, which is, you know, bridging the gap between man and machine is bridging the gap between man and God. Because it's actually a question that came up in the movie Prometheus, which a lot of people either hate or love. It's very divided among fans. But there's a scene between an engineer and Michael Fassbender, who plays a synthetic in that movie. He says, "Why did you create us? Why did you create synthetics, artificial life?" And the man says, "Well, because we could. We had the technology and we decided to do it." And he said, "Could you imagine if God said that to you? Could you imagine if God came to you and said, 'I made you just because I could, just for shits and giggles?'"
That sounds about right.
You know? And the guy just kind of stares at him and laughs. But Michael Fassbender has a point. You know, it's like just because you have the technology doesn't mean you should necessarily do it. And by creating artificial life, you are in fact becoming that role. So it's bridging the gap between machine and then man and God.
Well, what if they make it for a purpose?
Yeah.
They make it
aid as an aid for things.
But that's not what the man said. You know,
I know. I'm not. Okay.
And I get your point.
And
semantics.
and I think, like, you know, a movie like this, Ex Machina, is probably more up my alley because there's more.
She has a valley.
Alley.
That's the one thing you've said in this trailer, like valley.
Because it's also suspense. Along with kind of the philosophical ideas, it's a little more of everything. Whereas I think Her is basically just trying to be way too philosophical the whole entire time.
Way too hipster.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Again, I haven't seen it, but from the trailer, that's what it seemed like. And like, I can, you know, I like that kind of discussion when it's placed within a different context, kind of like within war, when you create artificial intelligence to fight wars, for example. Like, that's an interesting concept for me, because is that, you know, man versus machine, you know, human versus robots.
Okay, so between the two, Ex Machina and Her, you could get behind Ex Machina more.
More, probably, yes.
You can say the same?
Me too, yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking, like, this looks more interesting about the whole thing with, it seemed like the robot lady was telling this guy, like, you know, you don't really know what this guy who's in charge of this test is doing. You don't know why you're here. And the other guy's saying, oh, you can't listen to her. She's manipulating you.
Right, and it's like...
And, like, you got to figure out what is really happening. That kind of thing is...
Interesting.
is what I like. I like those kinds of things where you're like, oh my God, what's really going on? What's real? What's not? What's happening?
Not just like the machines trying to, you know...
not,
like,
oh, hey, let's flirt and have...
babies.
Romance.
Babies.
Little cyber babies.
Cyber babies.
Cyber babies.
Little fucking digipets.
Oh God,
that's their best. Tamagotchi is their best.
That's what we're breeding.
That's Her too, right there.
No.
Oh, we're going to get off of that trailer and into our final one for the night, which is Annie.
I love this city. The harder I work, the more opportunities I get. No matter who you are, what you are, just gotta want it bad enough.
Annie's never gonna find her family. None of us are.
We all have family somewhere.
Just because you can run from it doesn't mean that you should.
The city needs me.
All right, take it easy, Batman.
A couple things about this. First off, the one thing we have to address is, of course, and we had talked about this before, the recasts of the lead actors from white to black.
Actually, you know what? It's interesting that you say we have to talk about this.
I don't think we have
to. I don't think that it should.
Well,
I think it should be a non-issue. Like
it is a non-issue, but I had to bring it up because of the backlash it's gotten.
See, I think that would have made more sense.
Just more fuel to the fire.
And I think we need to talk about the backlash.
I'm sorry. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
We need to talk about the backlash to this, not the fact that
actual recasting of it.
Right, because I don't care, but we do have to talk about that.
We
It's
all
gotten
know you're a racist.
Yeah, I'm a big fucking racist.
Just
yeah,
kidding.
Paul's here, but I'm the big fucking racist.
Well, he's not saying nothing.
Tonight, you're a fucking douchebag, dude.
Jesus. Anyway, so yeah, there has been a certain amount of backlash to the fact that the lead roles of Annie as well as Daddy Warbucks.
Well, I don't know if that's still the name.
I don't know if, we don't know if that's his name or not.
I think they changed it.
I think they did,
but I can't remember.
But
what
they're
it
now
was.
being played by
Jamie
Foxx and
God.
what is her name?
The little girl.
Wallace. Oh no, his last name is Wallace, but I can never pronounce her first name. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to attempt it.
Little Miss Wallace.
Little Miss Wallace, yes. The girl from Beasts of the Southern Wilds.
Yeah, we probably should have, went online, listened to how people have pronounced it, and
we
then
probably
came
should
into
have
this
done
podcast.
that. Right. But again, I said this before. If you haven't seen Beasts of the Southern Wilds, go check that out. It's actually a very good movie. I saw that at Wilm Film with Kim a couple years ago. Very, very good movie. We also have the actress from Insidious that we talked about earlier, from Insidious 1 and 2, plays the mom. She plays kind of Jamie Foxx's assistant.
Oh, yeah.
I forget the actress's name.
I like her.
We also have Cameron Diaz as the owner of the orphanage, or the runner of the orphanage. I said should say.
Rose Byrne?
That sounds right. Yeah, Rose Burns.
Yes, Byrne, no S.
Oh, just Rose Byrne.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think you had mentioned it a while back. It looks like they're trying to humanize her way too much. Like they're
Cameron Diaz is.
Yeah, they're trying to make her
name? Mrs. Hannigan.
Mrs. Hannigan, yeah. They're trying to make her like a sympathetic character, which in any rendition I've seen, that's never been the case.
Right.
Now, let me say, I've never seen the first film of Annie. I've never seen Annie in any rendition except for the actual stage play, which I love. I love the musical. I think it's really good. I've never seen the movies, though.
I've seen the one movie with Tim Curry as Rooster. And I saw a play put on by one of the high schools when I was in maybe grade school.
I saw an off-Broadway performance of Annie. I think it was actually in Philadelphia I saw it. But, it was very good. Mrs. Hannigan isn't necessarily a sympathetic character, you know?
Right. You're supposed to feel sympathetic for Annie.
And every little...
Yeah, and all the orphans.
Yeah, not
Hannigan.
Mrs. Hannigan.
So apparently Sandra Bullock was originally considered for the role.
As Miss Hannigan?
Yeah.
What?
I could. You know what? Job, but
I could have considered that
that's
too.
So against her, but America's sweetheart.
That's if she declined the role.
But you know what? Even all that being said, no matter who they cast, even as Cameron Diaz, they still don't have to make her a sympathetic character. She still could have played that, the way that the character is meant to be portrayed.
Right.
You know,
I mean, we don't know for sure, but I mean, that's just
what it
in the trailer. It looked like, she was supposed to be.
Now we're getting way off point with just this character of Miss Hannigan. For all we know, everything else is going to be really good in the movie.
Yeah.
But I did want to say another thing about the film is that it is being produced by Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Jay-Z. So they all have a hand in this, and it makes me think. First off, one, the music should be really good with all three of them attached to it.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know if any of them have had producer credits before. I'm interested in seeing what's going to end up happening with this when it comes to, advertising, distribution, stuff like that. We've already there's been very few trailers for this movie, oddly enough.
Yeah.
Very little advertising. It only comes out about a month and a half from now.
Oh, okay.
So...
He has had a couple of producer credits.
Who's that? Jay-Z?
Well, Jay-Z, yeah.
Oh.
Or like executive producer credits. So not
executive producers just mean I put in a lot of money and I had to say a thing or two. Yeah.
Like apparently he was an executive producer on The Great Gatsby.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Now, the director of this is actually Will Gluck, and he recently directed Easy A and Friends with Benefits. Paul, you are a fan of Friends with Benefits, right?
I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah. So that director is attached to this, which tells me, you know what? He's had some decent work recently. He should do a good job with this.
Easy A was good.
I actually did not see Easy. That was
I also
Emma,
really liked
I really like
Emma
Easy
Stone,
A.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's basically just a modern version of The Scarlet Letter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was
okay.
done. It was done really well.
Yeah. All right, but as far as this, I can't say I'm necessarily looking forward to it. I mean, I'm kind of done with Annie. I mean, I don't hate it. It's not like my most loathed musical. I don't outright hate it, but it's not my favorite either. It's just kind of just like, it's in there.
I would probably take my nieces to see it.
Yeah, like
I want to see that'd be fine for them. Yeah.
If I didn't do that, then I would probably wait. I would still want to see it, but I would wait until it was not in the movies.
Theaters,
Yeah.
Yeah. I would Netflix it. That's probably the only time I'd probably watch it.
Yeah.
But
I would want to see it.
right.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
Okay, well, fair enough. So, finally, we're going to get into our feature presentations for the night, and there are a couple of big movies coming out over the next few weeks. The first one to take note of is Interstellar. Now, we first talked about this over a year and a half ago when that first
it was
trailer.
the most vague teaser ever.
With just Matthew McConaughey talking in the background and
like all these unrelated images.
Right.
Like not even just anything from the movie.
Just random shots of like people in space, right, and technology, yeah. So, ever since then, we've now kind of figured out what the movie is about.
More or less.
The world is
still a little confused.
Yeah. Well, the world is going to crap. It's like
right,
it looks like it's falling apart.
Part.
And they're sending up one final ship to try and find a planet that can hold human life.
Right. Yeah. That part I got.
Right. But after that, it looks like it turns into 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
There's just way too much symbolism going on. Like, what is going on here? You see, like two worlds like on top of each other, and then the massive waves, and like a black hole at one point. It's like, boy, what is going on here? How far out do they go? Confused. I know it's quite confusing. The early press releases have kind of said the same thing. They're like, at its root, there's a good story here, but it's like Nolan got way too involved with trying to say he wants to make 2001: A Space Odyssey. So, again, we haven't seen it, but the early releases have been saying Nolan tried way too hard. And some of the technology that you see in this looks really odd. Like, there's this assistant robot you see in some of the trailers, which is just a pair of legs. Have you seen it?
No.
It's like this...
I don't think I see this things that you see when we watch the same trailers.
And there's this thing accompanying Anne Hathaway at one point, because Anne Hathaway is in this, right?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure
she's on the crew. Yeah,
that we picked up.
Yep, saw that.
She's walking around on one of the planets, and
they make it to a planet.
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't see her like walking outside the ship at one point?
No, I don't know. Maybe I blacked out when I was watching it.
So much confusion. Oh, confusion! Blackout.
Pretty much. My brain can't take it.
At one point, you see her walking around, and there's this robot walking next to her that looks like it's just like black obsidian robot legs. It's really odd looking, but they're walking really smooth alongside her. And they're as tall as her, but it's just like a pair of legs.
As her legs or as her whole body?
Yeah, a pair of legs that are as tall as her. Yes.
The top of the legs go up to her head?
Yes.
That's bizarre.
It is bizarre.
Maybe, okay.
I'm like, what is that? And why would you need that?
What would be the purpose of that? I can understand arms possibly.
Right, like what?
Just I couldn't even understand if it was like the same height as her legs and like a table on the top that kind of walked with her.
Right.
So she could put things on it.
No, but that's not it. It's just a pair of legs walking next to her.
That's just weird.
It is weird. And Paul is staring at me really confused right now.
I wasn't listening. I have zero interest in this movie, so I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
Legs.
Because it's Nolan and fuck Nolan.
No, I never thought this looked interesting, and I don't like Matthew McConaughey.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not his biggest fan.
He's never done anything that I found especially groundbreaking.
I was saying that up until True Detective.
Yeah, did you
and then
see
I
that?
saw True Detective, and I was like, wow,
That's
this is
good.
really good.
I do want to see Dallas Buyers Club, but not for him.
You want to see it for Jared Leto?
Yeah. I was really impressed. I've been really impressed with the snips I saw of him, and that's what I want to see it for.
Well, again, I would highly recommend True Detective. He was really good. I mean, him and Woody Harrelson were phenomenal in that.
As a lady that I work with said about True Detective,
oh yeah,
she thinks that wasn't Matthew McConaughey acting, that's actually him.
Just him.
And like Woody Harrelson was like in the car stuck with him, like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah. Like he's just a lot of times he's just rambling, and you think it's just Matthew McConaughey like giving his views on life, and you see Woody Harrelson just like, what the fuck?
Did we stop filming? Keep going. I need an adult.
Oh my god.
Because there are some scenes where they're interviewing Matthew McConaughey in like an interrogation room, and he's just there with a beer and a cigarette, and it's just him talking. And like, did they just give him a beer and a cigarette and just say, "Yeah, just ramble," you know? But it works. It's entertaining. It's really good. So
I don't know. My dad tried to watch that and he didn't like it.
Really?
Yeah, he got bored.
I can't think of what movie it was now, but I read a thing about a movie that I really liked, and it was we actually didn't have a script for this movie. They kind of like told us what they wanted to happen in the movie, and then we kind of just played off the lead actor.
Nice. Jinx.
So the next one up, which is due out in about a week and a half, is Big Hero 6. Now, we had mentioned this, a few months ago, and again, this is the first joint venture between Disney and Marvel Studios.
Mm-hmm.
So, every trailer I've seen for this, I get more and more excited.
Yeah, I wish that it was linked to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just think it would be really interesting, because it takes place in Japan.
No, it takes place in San Fran, Tokyo.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
it's like,
well,
it's a futuristic city that's like, it's kind of like San Francisco, but there's been a merged culture in there. So I think it's called San Fran, Tokyo.
I think something like that.
Yeah. Because you see the Golden Gate Bridge at one point. It's all very futuristic, but still a lot of the same settings in that city.
Like Firefly, when they like merge all the different.
Mm-hmm.
I still have to watch that Firefly.
But yeah, I'm super excited. I just wish that it had been like a Marvel Studios thing. So it'd be like something like completely unrelated to anything else going on.
Right.
And then like maybe just in like some random shot, she'll just be like, "Oh yeah, and there's some like bubble robot."
Oh, that would be so cool. Like you're in Stark Tower, like I am Baymax. What the fuck is that? But I lost my train of thought there because now I'm thinking about that scene in my head. And that's all the Avengers just looking at Baymax like, what the fuck are you? But this actually hugely deviates from what the original comics were about. It was about 6 heroes, all from different paths of life coming together as like an Avengers style team, but Baymax was not a big fluffy robot. He was in fact a giant lizard. And this guy, this kid rode him into fights and battles.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I was like, I kind of want to see that.
Yeah. Sounds like that could be a little silly.
Well, apparently the Big Hero 6 comics were a little silly.
Okay.
But but they've made him a robot in this, and there's been a couple commercials where you see like everyone in his group, like all his group of friends, like laying on him, like, oh, he's so comfy. Like everyone falls over, like, have a lollipop. But in this, it's fun. The robot works, and he's funny.
I think he's adorable.
Yeah,
he is. Especially when he has his low battery.
Right.
He's drunk.
Yeah, that was such a
I like
great
it when
scene.
he's like
he flew out a
deflating.
window.
I like it when he's deflating and the cop's just like, you and your balloon man, and then just like moves the tape over to him.
Yeah.
Bloop.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah, it looks fun.
really
So
cute.
Are being attacked by a man in a kabuki mask. See, and if they did Marvel Studios, they'd have been like, "Do you pay attention? New York got attacked by aliens. A kabuki mask doesn't seem outside the realm of possibilities."
So Mr. Kabuki was using ESP. Anyway.
Yeah, I know.
That was in the trailer. The cop's like, so Mr. Kabuki was using ESP?
It's been a while.
But yeah, all of the parts, every member of his crew, part of the Big Hero 6, are going to be getting a different kind of suit, different kind of ability. And I don't know if it's going to tie into what their abilities were in the comics. I know there were a mutant or two in the Big Hero 6.
Oh, were there?
Yeah, there was. But so I don't think they're going to be tying that in, obviously. But this I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, me too.
This is the next in line for the Disney Animation Studios. They had Tangled, they had Wreck-It Ralph, they had Frozen. This is the follow-up to Frozen.
Like, isn't it
So-
somehow related? Is it the same director or producers of Wreck-It Ralph?
Yes,
and
yes, the
Frozen or
same.
something?
I believe it's the same director as Wreck-It Ralph.
Okay,
Yeah.
and like the same producers of the two.
Right.
Yeah.
So that being said, this is the next in line for the new Disney Renaissance. It has a lot to live up to, but I think it will live up to it. It has everything going for it right now. So the final one that we're going to talk about. What? Oh, did you have one more?
No, it's just you're like Uncle from Jackie Chan Adventures. One more thing, Jackie.
One more thing.
No, one more thing. and then. I do have one thing. It's not directly related to that, but you made me think of it when you mentioned mutants.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel Comics has
I know what
they
you're
are
gonna say,
not
yeah.
allowing writers to create new mutants in the books because any new mutant created in the books is now the cinematic rights for Fox.
Yep.
In addition, there's a rumor that they're canceling Fantastic Four for the same reason. Because Fox is a big dickhole.
Oh.
I mean, they've done a couple really good movies, but they're a big dickhole.
Right.
So...
Because Fox has basically gone to Marvel and said, you want the rights back for X-Men? Okay, give us $30 billion.
Right.
Yeah, they're being a bunch of real assholes about this. Now, again, the last couple X-Men films they've made have been good.
Yeah, a couple exact. Two.
But the fact that they're
not even the last two. The last one and then the one before the last one they made. Because both Wolverine movies sucked
really bad.
balls.
Okay. Well, like what Sony has done, where they own the rights to Spider-Man and one other thing. I think it could be Submariner, or something else along those lines. Something they haven't even touched yet. But
Somebody
Sony
does own Submariner. It might be Sony.
Yeah.
I don't think it is though.
But
I think somebody else does.
Sony has finally turned around and said, you know what? We'll share this property. We're making bank on it, but we'll share it. 20th Century Fox could easily...
We're making money on it, but we keep pissing people off.
Right.
They're going to kill us.
Right.
Please help us.
Right. So, Marvel... I shouldn't say Marvel. 20th Century Fox could easily do the same thing, but they're not. They're just being assholes.
You know who I want to see play Spider-Man in a Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man? Don't judge me. I swear to God I'll punch you in the face. I want to see Drake Bell play Spider-Man.
Who?
Drake Bell from Drake and Josh. He voices him in the Ultimate Spider-Man. So he already has like the voice and the person.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
my cousin is kind of friends with him.
Oh yeah?
And yeah, she lives in California.
Oh, well, you should tell her.
Tell her to have him
tell him that he should be Spider-Man.
Okay, I'll pass it
Look,
along.
my cousin's friend says that you should be Spider-Man because you already voice him in the Ultimate Spider-Man, and you kind of already worked for Disney when you were on Nickelodeon.
Exactly. Well,
so it's owned by... Everything's owned by Disney.
No, Nickelodeon's Universal.
Everything's owned by Disney.
Okay.
It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
But
So anyway, getting into the final trailer for the night. Well, I shouldn't say the final trailer, final feature presentation for the night.
One feature presentation. Do you understand how that works?
Yeah.
One feature.
Well,
We
feature
came for one
presentations.
feature presentation.
Feature presentations.
This
Sorry.
is a VHS.
Last one for the night, which is Dumb and Dumber 2. Yeah. My opinion has been changing on this daily. It's hard to tell at this point what we're going to get. There's some trailers that have me kind of laughing. There's some I'm like, oh my god, this is like cringeworthy.
So I think the cringeworthy ones will be
will
what
rule the
it
day.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, will outweigh the
funny.
And I have a feeling that's going to be the case. You're probably right on that.
Because you don't want to go into a movie with any cringeworthy moments.
Right.
Right? Like,
right.
That's just not what you want to do.
Right. And there are moments that I've been rewatching in these trailers, like the whole bit with the phones. Like, you know, you see like, oh, this is your dad. It's like, oh, I have to take this. It's my dead dad. It's like, I'm on hold. That whole bit. Have you seen that?
No.
Yes, I haven't seen that one. I know
you have
what he's
seen that
talking
one?
about.
I'm not sure I do.
I'll spare you the details. It's just a scene where they're trying to find I forget the actor's the daughter, yeah, and she's left her phone behind, and so the one guy calls it, and the other guy picks up, and he thinks it's his dead dad talking to him on the other end. It's like, this is your dad, you know.
Oh.
And it's a really stupid exchange. I'm like, is this what the movie's going to be?
I mean, I kind of want to see this movie. And I know that, like, I'm really going to need to, like, hunt for somebody to see it with. Because Steve's like, I have, like, every time the trailer comes on, I have zero interest in seeing that movie. I know. You want to see it, don't you? Yes.
At least maybe go on a Tuesday or something.
Yeah, go on a discount, yeah.
When I made him watch Zoolander, I cracked the fuck up the entire time, and he laughed at me. He's like, I was like, did you see the one part when this happened? Is that when you fell off the couch? Because I laughed at that. Shut up.
Nice. I will say that this movie is banking heavily on nostalgia, but I don't
even know if they're going to be able to get that.
Right. That's my fear. It's like, I'm not that nostalgic for Dumb and Dumber. I'm not. If
I'd
it's
rather
on TV,
just watch
the first
Dumb and Dumber instead of seeing their story continued on.
Right, 20 years later.
So I feel like they wouldn't survive that many years.
Right. I don't know.
What if he shot me in the head?
Like, you're just thinking about the first movie and now you're laughing because that's how good the first movie was. It's like, I don't know. We can only hope that they are saving a lot of good bits for this movie because I've been seeing a lot of the same bits over and over.
Because there were so many cringeworthy bits in the trailer, like that. I don't have much hope for it just because, like, you know, like it's.
I mean, it's okay to have like stupid, silly stuff, but just this other stuff that's like just
really
crude.
Or
not.
But you guys
not
like me, right? Why am I even here?
Like most recently, I saw a TV spot where it's the whole thing with the dog in the window. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah.
Where there's this dog, like this ravenous dog, just barking outside this window, and Jim Carrey walks up and is like, "Who's a good doggy? Who's a good doggy?" And this dog's just like ready to rip his face off, and it's like, you know, it's throwing drool everywhere. He's like, "Say it, don't spray it." I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And I'm sitting there looking at Kim. I'm like, would this be what I would do if there was a dog at a window like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said. Yes.
And Kim and I would be standing behind plexiglass, and I'd go, "You know, you're dating him, right?" And she'd be like, "Yep, only until the heart stops beating."
Nice. So that's it for the night. Yes, that's finally it, Paul.
That's the feature presentation.
Feature presentations. So I want to thank the Superhuman Aficionado for coming by.
Very welcome.
Thank you. I want to thank the Fangirl Extraordinaire for coming by.
Yay!
And I want to thank the Goddess of Gore for coming by.
Yep.
Yep.
I was trying to think of something and I
just
got nothing.
Yep.
Yep.
Before you wrap up,
yeah.
So next week, Mike and I are going to sit down and we're going to do a podcast about Marvel's Phase 3 program.
Yes,
Karen may or may not join us to learn about stuff and throw in her 2 cents from an outside perspective. If there's anybody out there in TV land who wants to like throw in questions or comments or theories, we'd love to hear them.
You know what?
This
I'll
isn't a
post
guest spot
that
episode,
if
but
you, if you guys have any questions or comments or things they'd like to do for Phase 3 in either Marvel or in the upcoming DC universe, go ahead and shoot that our way, and we will discuss them on our podcast.
Yeah.
Because if you recall, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, we did a superhero preview podcast that had to break up into 3 parts because it ended up being about 3 hours.
Yeah, Appa won't be at this one, probably.
No, probably not. But we'll try and keep this one shorter than 3 hours. I can promise that.
Dude, there's 11 movies we need to talk about.
There are a lot of movies to get through, true. But we'll promise maybe 5 minutes on each one. How about that?
I don't know.
You can't contain.
Don't censor me.
You can't put him in a box.
There's a lot of backstory I'm gonna have to go into with everything.
Right.
Or just start talking about something that really bores him, and then he'll zone out, and then you can start up
and
something.
then
new.
really.
move on to the next movie.
Yeah, that's what you gotta do.
Fair enough. All right, so thanks again for tuning in, guys. I'm the Projectionist, and have a good night, and take care.
Bye. Thank you.